Hello and welcome back, everyone. It's Scootsy16 here with another episode of the Shuffle Draft Showdown. As we have done one of these before, and we seem to get some pretty positive reception from it, figured I'd give it another try with another idea. So we are going to jump into the Shuffle Draft. We will use the traditional SMB League, but I will be using my custom logos that I've made for all of these teams, just to kind of show them off. Plus, I like them a lot. And we're going to draft a copy of this league, and I am going to edit this team. So the theme of this episode is going to be Ladies Night. The Ladies Night League is what we're going to be calling this, and we will be using the traditional SMB players. And I decided what team should I use for this. I'm going to go with the Moon Stars because these ladies are out of this world, and they're all stars in our book, right? So that's what I'm going to go with. And we're going to start this one off. So the goal is I will only draft women. I'm only going to draft women for this team. I know that it may not be perfect. I don't know how this is going to play out. I've never done this before. But I will do this before we even get into it. If there are no women to choose from, then I will pick whatever player I want. So I have the freedom to choose whatever player I'd like if there are no women available to draft in each round. So that'll be my rule. If you have any opinions on this, or if you have any thoughts for how I could address this, if it ends up happening, let me know down below. And if I do this again in the future, you can let me know if you have any ideas for how I can solve for this problem. So I don't know if we'll even run into that issue, but just in case we do, I wanted to address it now. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's jump into the draft. All right, ladies' night starts with two options. So we have Anita Bean, or we have Gina Torrens. Now, keep in mind, we're doing a season with this team, so there is no aging, there's no regression, there's no improving, or there's no progression or regression. We also were in a DH league, so I think it'd be a good idea to bring in Anita Bean as a starter, and she can also be a DH if necessary. So I think I'm going to go with Anita Bean in this one. I think she serves multiple purposes. It is tough to see some of the players that will pass on, like Mario and Maurice, but I like Anita Bean, so we'll see what she's capable of. She'll be our first pick. We'll skip ahead to the next round. We have Shay D, a relief pitcher with falls behind and stimulated. We have Maddie Batts over here as well, a center fielder, and not that impressive, especially with noodle arms. So those are the two options here. I'm going to go with Shay D. We're going to reinforce this pitching staff right out of the gate. So that's what we're going to start with. Next round, we're going to have either Kasha Emin or Hugs Lavelle are our options. And since we have not gotten a single hitter on the team yet, I think Kasha Emin is going to be our option. And with that RBI hero trade, it's hard to pass up on that as well. So I think she's going to be one of our more productive players. And again, we're passing up on Norm Phenomeno, which is really frustrating, but it is what it is. So Kasha, bring you in. Welcome to the team. All right, next round. We have only one option to choose from, and that is Shania Burns. So Shania gets to join the team. We now have two starters in the rotation. She's a pretty solid option, so I think our pitching staff is looking really good so far. Thank you so much for joining, Shania. And Grace Lupinovich is here, as well as Patience Evergreen and Kira Nutmeg. So third baseman, tier 3, or we don't even know what that would be, base rounder. Grace Lupinovich, a righty with specialist, is always tempting, and she won't regress at 36, which is really nice. Patience is not a good player generally. She's a good contact hitter, but that's it. So when it comes down to these two, I think it's hard for me to pass on Grace Lupinovich, especially knowing that she won't regress. I'm going to take her. I think she's going to be a really core piece of our bullpen. So Grace joined the team. Let's see, what do we got here? We have Yolanda Cooper. Boy, we are just really leaning into the pitching staff, aren't we? So Yolanda Cooper could be brought in. She would have falls behind, but she'd be our number 2 pitcher in the rotation, which would be really great. Our offense needs a little bit of help though, and Madoka Hayata could be a solid option. She's terrible at third base and has wild thrower, but she's super fast and a good contact hitter. She could be a good leadoff woman. Um, Man, I think it's hard to pass up on Yolanda Cooper though. And so I think I might go with her and just really lean into our pitching staff. I can't believe we're 6 rounds in and we've only drafted one offensive player, but Yolanda, I think, is the option here. So we'll see if this is a mistake. We'll figure out what happens next time out. Or as we, and oh my gosh, yeah, this may have been a mistake because now we have to draft Melody Moods as our fourth starter, and now we cannot draft another starter. So we're running into a situation where we're going to have a problem here in a little bit, and we're 7 rounds, and we're drafting a C plus for our fourth starter because that's really the only thing we can choose here, especially with some other options out here. That's a really tough decision. So Melody, welcome in. Join the party. We have Harmony Strauss at catcher is really good option. We have Kelby King, which we could put in right field, would be decent, but I think it's easy to pick Harmony in this situation, as there's not a ton of catchers that are women, and I don't want to run into that situation. So we're going to go with Harmony here. Starting to finally get some hitters. And now let's see, who do we have? Bertha Banks, and we have Swirly Cutstiff. Swirly's not a bad option. And we have Tara Leonaire. So Tara, a wild thrower, but we could put her at first base if we needed to. And Bertha Banks with Big Hack and Slowpoke at third base. I almost kind of prefer Tara Leonaire here. Yeah, I think that's who I'm going to go with, as she can play first base, and I think I'm okay with that. So let's get her in, and that'll cover that. Here we have Trisha Lee, which I'm really glad I went with Tara Leonaire on that last one. We have Leanne Drive would be first base, and then we have Trisha. I like Trisha a lot, and her at third base is pretty solid in my book, so we're going to go with Trisha there. So pretty solid there in the 10th round pick. Now we have Maddie Batts back again. We have Irene Fast, who can also catch in a pinch. I like her a lot. I think that her speed is wonderful. Her contact is a little bit left to be desired, but I think that she's a good option here. And I really don't like Noodle Arm in center field. So Irene Fast is going to be our next signing. We have our first outfielder. Like how that's going so far. All right, Jess Fowle at first base. That's a good grab right there. We also have Nori Miyoshi, which is a good fielder in left field. Weak arm, but that's okay in left. And then we have Gabby Ganez with durable. I think she's kind of redundant at this point with everything else. I think Nori is a decent option here, but I think you cannot pass up on Jess Fowle, and for her to also be an option at third base is what is Trisha's backup position? Is it first? Yeah, it is. So we're starting to pile on the first baseman here, but I think Jess is a good option. 61. Actually, I might go Nori here, as we would need another outfielder, and she's a decent hitter. Jess won't develop at all. She's good, and she can field really well, but she has very low contact, and that doesn't usually bode very well in the simulation. So we're going to go Nori here. That's going to be our left fielder. We have Helena Bigsby. We have Yvette Victorino, and those are our two options. And Yvette in center field is not a bad option. She's quick, decent fielder. She is a low contact hitter, but she can be a bottom of the order bat, and I think that would be a decent way for us to round out our outfield. So I'll go with Yvette here, as I don't think Helena, she's a good hitter. She'd be a DH pretty much primarily, but I think we go with Yvette here as a speedy outfielder. So that's what I'm going to do here. Now what do we got? We have Lynetta Betta, we have Lucy Finnegan. So those are our two options. I don't usually like to go with closers, and she has tier, or she would have surrounded, which is currently at tier two. I think Lucy Finnegan's is the best option here. Low accuracy stinks, but she's got an elite two seam fastball, and I don't mind that, and good junk on that slider. So let's bring her in. Lucy Finnegan's, welcome to the team. All right, now we have. Ooh, this is the first situation where we have no ladies to choose from. So we have to decide who we want to bring in to join the team. And if I have to make a choice and I get to choose, I think having Freddie Knox at second base is decent. I'm fine with this. And I hate that I have to do this, but it's kind of the situation that the shuffle draft puts us in. So let me know if you have any feedback for how to fix this next time out. If you just want me to redo a whole other shuffle draft, I'm 15 rounds in, and then finding out that this is the first time I don't have a woman to choose kind of stinks if to have to reset from there. But I can do it if you feel that that would be the best. But let's bring in Freddie Knox for now. And let's see, what else do we have? We have Kelby King, who can be an outfielder. We have Cash Basket, decent option there as well. And I usually do like her, especially with that power and contact versus lefties. It's currently at tier two. And we'll see what we can do with that. But I think that over Kelby King, yeah, Cash has better contact and would have that boost. Switch hitting bat as well. So let's bring her in. That pushes Miyoshi over to the DH spot. Now we have Bertha Banks, and we have Molly Pops, and we have Busha Digman. Busha Digman, I like her a lot as a fielder. She can play short and third, has good fielding and a good arm. Good pop in the bat, has contact versus lefties. I think she'd be a good bench bat and a good defender to bring in off the bench. Bertha is not that impressive, and Molly Pops with surrounded is not a good trait to have in the bullpen. So I think Busha is going to be my option to bring in here. All right, let's see, who else do we have? We have Kenna Korn as the only option, so we're going to be drafting her. She is sprinter, so that works in her favor. She's a good defender. She can also play catcher in a pinch as well. That could keep Terry Leonaire from having to go to catcher. All right, now what do we have? We have no ladies this time, so I have another option to choose from. I have to decide who to bring in between all of these options, and there's not a lot to choose from here that's appealing. We do need two more bullpen arms. Tet's ball 4 would be at tier 3, it looks like. Lionel Martinez. Dwayne Butterfingers would have clutch. Lou DeBaziz. Dugout 5s. We could go Rogan Balls here just because of the 3 pitches, and an elite cut fastball would only be a tier 1 right now. Or Dwayne Butterfinger because of clutch, but would have tier 3 Butterfingers, so no. I'm going to go Rogan Balls here, which is also kind of weird because of the name, but okay. 2 guys on the team so far. All right, and make it 3 because now we have another situation. I think the option would be Ian Fielder here because he is utility. He would be useful to have kind of in all of the spots. So I think I'm going to put Ian Fielder on the team. The whole infield is fine now. And then we have Meggie Meggles or Babette Walkman. And because of that purple trait, I'm going to go with Meggie Meggles here as our last relief pitcher. And then lastly, We have, oh gosh, of course that would be how this ends up playing out. You know what? To commit, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna draft Bella Me 8 Ball. I don't think she'll even get a chance to play at all, but we're gonna draft her because of the because she's a woman and because we already have three guys on the team. So that's what we're gonna end up doing here, bringing in Bella Me 8 Ball. And with that, that is the team. And what are we going to do with this team? Let me see. We are going to. Can we customize the league? Ooh, okay. All right. So here's what I'll do. Because I can edit the. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be reasonable. We only have C plus and less to work with here. So I am going to replace those three guys with players that are women that are on the roster. So, or that are in the free agent pool. So we're going to go down to my Moon Stars here. We are going to replace some of these players. First one's going to be Freddie Knox. So Freddie, we don't even have a primary first baseman. That is hilarious. We're going to go with Freddie Knox, and I will. Hold on. How do I want to do this? We need a first baseman and a second baseman. So Freddie Knox is going to be our um, second base replacement, which we can bring in. Let's see, what are our options? It looks like the only option is Maggie Rags. So we can bring in Maggie. She's a good option as well. So Maggie replaces Freddie Knox. Now we need to replace Ian Fielder. We can replace Ian with a first baseman if there's an option. And it does not look like there is a single woman option for the first base. So let's see. Do I have what are my other options here? Do I need another infielder? I do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'll also have the option to replace Bella. No, I can't replace Bella. I'm going to make that rule. So Ian Fielder. Let's just try and find another infielder option to replace Ian here. And there's no infield option, so we can either, let's see what we have in the outfield. We have Betty Sparks. We have let's see, no other option there. We have either Betty Sparks, who's only a right fielder, and I think we're all set in right field, or we could do Stracy or Scout Goderone. I think I'm going to go with Stracy Wickers here. So Stracy replaces Ian. Now we have that figured out. And then we have one other player left, and that's Rogan Balls. So let's go to pitchers here. And I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. We have Babette Walkman, Mindy Marshwater. Yeah, so it's either Mindy or Babette, and I'm going to pick Mindy just because she does not have walk prone, which would be a tier 3. So here we go, Mindy Marshwater. And that'll actually put our scholarly traits at tier 2. So Rogan Balls gets replaced, and now we have a team full of women. It actually comes with 3 catchers and 5 starting pitchers, which is really interesting, but I still think that this team can hold it down pretty well. So we'll see how that all plays out as we are now going to... Hold on. Okay, now I can do this. Okay, so now we're going to start a season. And with this Ladies Night League, we are going to do a 162 game season. I hope hope I did this the same way I did the last one. I can't remember if I left in the auto runner. Let's turn it off. Playoff teams 8. We'll do 7. No shuffle draft, and we're gonna start the season. So let's see what the Moonstars are capable of when they're entirely run by women. We're gonna simulate all the way down to the end of the regular season. We'll see what we're capable of. Let me know what you think about the decision to choose those three guys to remove off the team after I was done with the draft. I think that's the best solution to resolve that issue, and I think I can keep that in mind going forward for other drafts where I'm limited in my options. So I think that that'll help. Ooh, the Moonstars do not do well as they have a negative 69 run differential, 78 and 84, so they are below 500, 11 games back of the Sandcats, who were really well. And so, unfortunately, the Moonstars do not make the playoffs. Let's do a quick look at the league leaders to see if any of our players make the league leader. Nobody in the top 10. Nobody in the top 3 categories here. Nobody here. We have Irene Fast, who led or was in top 4 in strikeouts, which is not good. We have Irene Fast with her stolen bases. We also see her caught stealing. That's not good either. All right, Grace Lupinovich with earned run or ERA. We see Shady with wins. That's decent. And that is it. So those are the 3 players that we had appear in the top 10, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and take a look at the team and see what the production looked like across the board. So it looks like we had, let's see, Irene Fast led the team in at-bats. Kasha Emin was right behind her. We have, let's see who led the team in hits. It was Irene, followed by Kasha, and then Yvette. We had Irene with 25 home runs, pretty solid. She had a pretty good year outside of all those strikeouts. Harmony Strauss with 17 home runs. Yvette Victorino with 16. Wow, some pop out of her bat. And Kasha Emin, despite having RBI hero, was not that productive, although she tied for second with RBIs. Irene Fast had a great year overall. And I won't filter by these because I think they get really skewed. I guess I can. Yolanda Cooper with a 368 average, but Yvette Victorino with the top one of all the everyday players with a 263. Let's see, for OPS, Stracy Wickers with 192 at-bats ended up with a 788 OPS, and then Irene Fast with the 623 at-bats ended up with a 758 OPS. Total bases goes to Irene, followed by Kasha, followed by Tara Leonaire. We see Tara with 37 doubles. We see Irene with 6 triples and 67 walks. Yvette Victorino with 50. And then for stolen bases, Irene with 33, Yvette with 22. Interesting. Oh my gosh, look at Kasha Emin. How do you have 24 errors? Holy moly. I cannot believe that. I just can't believe that's insane. All right, pitching wise, we have Shady with 19 wins, Grace with 17, and Anita Bean with 10. Actually, I wanted to sort this again by that. So we see Anita Bean with a 361 ERA. We have Yolanda Cooper with 321, Shania Burns 401, and then Melody Moods with a 452. Our pitching staff did decently well. Bella Mietball did play in 8 games, which is really funny. She had an 386 ERA. Grace with her ERA was phenomenal. Shady was okay. Lucy Finnegan's was not good. Maggie Meggles wasn't that great. And Mindy Marshwater was pretty disappointing as well. We also had 4 position players that had to pitch. Harmony Strauss, the only one to give up a run. That's really interesting. Overall, I think our pitching staff did decently well. all things considered. Anita Bean pitched 209 innings. Yolanda Cooper 216, so she was kind of the ace of the staff. And I'm pretty pleased with this. I'm pretty pleased with that. Anita actually had a complete game as well. Oh, I wanted to check. Did Anita have any? She had 324 at bats in the DH spot with 8 home runs, 38 RBIs, and a 641 OPS. So she actually produced pretty well as a pitcher for us. She also had 10 stolen bases. So kudos to her for her hitting in this season. So overall, the team did not do really well. Let's do a quick simulation of the playoffs to end this one out. And the Sawteeth end up winning the tournament 4 games to 1 against the Grapplers. So that's how things play out. I think that's not right, is it? How did things play out in the last one? Yeah, look at that. The Sawteeth beat the Grapplers in our last one. I was gonna say that sounded familiar. That's really wild. So the Sawteeth 2 championships so far, and in the 2 seasons that we've run a simulation for, really interesting. Both times they faced off against the Grapplers, but that's how the Ladies Night League ends up playing out. Not as successful as our Heaters team was, but let me know what you think of this format. Let me know if you have any other ideas for teams that we should draft. Now that we have a solution for the shuffle draft after things end up not working out, especially in this situation where we had to draft 3 different guys to join the team, we end up replacing them in the free agent pool. So let me know if you have any other ideas, thoughts around unique shuffle drafts that we can do. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.